Okay.
How you doing?
How about you? Good.
Always nervous that no one will come.
Oh, right. It's so special to get mom himself.
Well, he's having to be in from Palestine, like Palestine a month early,
But still,
that's it.
get his time.
Yeah,
I've seen years and years since he was just starting this. Before this.
but he's actually there in the community right now.
Wow. That's so great.
He's a great man.
He is. And determined, I remember when he was starting the whole concept, I thought, that's a great idea, but I don't know.
Right.
But look what he's done, what they have done.
Yes.
So great.
Well, he's left the world. Now there's unarmed civilian protection all over.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
So, and NP is law premier, it's the largest, most professional, most. It really happened.
Wow.
So happy.
Well, of course, I'll have to be partly through too. For fire, but at least I won't be insulting him, he won't know that I just walked out.
Not sure what we'll see yet. Not at all, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I got it set up. I know I got it set up like that.
Actually, here.
Doug came and got it.
Oh, that's good, that's real.
Yes, it is. You're okay if we have to jump out for choir? No, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Figure out how to teach owl and sing.
You have to figure out what?
How to teach owl and sing. I'm gonna have to have somebody come in and just tell me when upstairs happening, so I can jump up and sing.
Oh, to sing.
Yes.
We're on the attendees to go.
Is, one of you guys gonna talk about, do a moment permission?
I am.
Okay, good. So when you do that, I'll ask somebody to come up and grab me.
Okay.
So the office is open now.
Okay, good. I have to get copies.
Turns out Bill has it.
Oh, good for him.
He always gets here to make the copy.
Yeah.
That's very fortunate.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna talk about?
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just doing owl, and so,
Oh.
I wanna be able to jump out just for a minute and sing. Yes, Maggie or somebody to run up and tell me.
Oh, good,
A minute permission, and I can jump out and do that jump out.
Oh, that's good.
It's like elastic, it's like, you know, elastic.
Elastic.
I don't know, so. That's sure. It's not.
More.
I know. A lot more. Well, yeah, his attitude is. Or we are, and
Yeah.
he's not gonna. He's not.
Right, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah. First part must just come
Yeah.
once a month or once every 2 months.
She will drive it, not.
That's a
She was
challenge.
herself. I don't know how far she lives, but she doesn't drive in the dark, so that's just a problem.
Yeah, better.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Maybe more surprised.
Trying to
Why?
replace the frame.
We could get. Somebody else doesn't drive at night,
I don't
so.
think she wants to drive it.
It's hard at night.
It is getting harder at night, yeah. Like, especially if it's raining.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Sandy.
Hello.
That reminds me, I forgot to turn mine off. I mean, I didn't. I thought it right on now, I had my television, my family. Well, I thought,
Yeah, no, it's this time of year, it's on, off.
well, I figure another couple of days of rain, that's started to look good.
Yes, me too.
Because it's supposed to be very.
But then I want it to be
Yeah, that's clear.
cooler as night.
Well, and there's big trees,
But you know,
breeze.
it's the round woody thing.
Yeah.
I keep moving.
I have a heat
I
pump
got
too, which is better.
And putting the
Clear
on.
out of the
Picture I have for
sends it in.
this is very much.
Oh, nice.
That.
So it's like, that's not a big thing.
Travis, well, you have something that on Travis, but I have his sister's this.
And then.
And some, and so he's got a
Travis from
Low.
loan there.
Oh,
So there's a back.
And so that I have a picture of him with his mother holding the poster that she's missing. And then the.
That's inside.
It's for her sister.
nice. Oh,
And so
that's.
years ago,
Yeah.
I came over to hang on, three, 4 days, over to bring a hammer.
Well, surely they're gonna be a hammer.
The layout for
So even
stairs.
the challenger, the guys, that's a. I bet you my nails. And he looked at me like,
Some problem.
nails? What's a nail? I thought I guess you could.
Well, I think there's cleaners, not.
Like,
right?
yes.
And then while I'm.
So I
Does
just,
fix
I just
I know
figured,
a lot of.
I knew that's what he was, but I thought.
State.
That would,
That's.
That will be back.
So I thought of just going up and seeing if Doug had a nail.
Yeah, but it should not be that much.
Well,
I know so much.
I found my car.
I was there.
3 or 4 years.
Oh, good, well, I hope it happens.
So it will, but I sent him. That one. The other,
Nice.
that's sort of a.
Look, I didn't answer the wall.
He has a woman on the pressure cooker. I have a license, but it's still catch that now.
Oh, really?
Minnesota has one that this in this area. And around picture of an Indian woman on the license plate.
No,
Well, you know, somebody saw, one of my kids or something saw that. Well, we sent her a message. So I went over to the DMV to see if it was some tribe, it was a tribal plate. That somebody can tell me what the tribe said. Yeah. Unless it's bad, so one of my kids.
Well, Steve's got a deal. Great job. That's great.
And I got it in the mail, I can't think of the rest of it out for sure. But it's really nice black background with a picture of straight or
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
It was.
They had a wall, you know, like with all the lights.
It's a certified.
And you pay extra for it, sure.
I mean, I think all like place, there was a conservation or wildlife, they're all.
That's good.
We don't have a technician.
Yeah.
Well,
that was very.
I guess we better get started.
Everyone would like to take a seat? That would be great. Actually, speak up.
Can I do it by you, Bud?
You may, please do.
Yeah.
Okay. My technical support is here. And so there's the. We're running a Zoom. Mel will be here. Yeah, I don't think he would. I just don't.
Somebody.
He just been on.
Come on in. Forgetting some card in it.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Oh, I know, they're like from the air conditioning.
Good morning.
Not sure they- but that's- All right. So all three trying this cold. I can try to use a lot of energy.
So I'd like to welcome everybody today, and thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to talk to you today about UCP in Palestine. Some of you might have heard the prayers that I held up during the service on behalf of our Palestinian team members who are in Palestine now, and I'm thankful, so thankful that you decided to learn more. For those of you who are expecting to see Mel Duncan, that was the original plan. Unfortunately, Mel ended up having to go back to Palestine earlier than he had planned. It got tense there, and Mel was needed from the team. But he's gonna try and zoom in with us today, so we might be able to still hear from him. We'll see how technology goes. So I'm here today to introduce you to the UCP in Palestine project and answer any questions that you might. I expect your first question might be, what is UCP anyway? So it's Unarmed Civilian Protection. And Unarmed Civilian Protection is well-trained, organized civilians providing direct protection to other civilians who are under threat of violent conflict while supporting them as they expand and enhance their own self-protection capabilities. Because every community that's living through this have figured out ways to deal with their conflict. Unarmed civilian protection is always nonviolent and focuses on the primacy of local actors. Methods include violence de-escalation, protective accompaniment, proactive presence, interpositioning, and early warning, early response, as well as shuttle diplomacy. Going back. Those are the tools. They don't have tanks and bombs and guns. That's what they. So I thought it might be nice for you to see UCP in action. So I have a video here for us. Because one of the main principles of UCP is nonviolence. Primary techniques available in Palestine, because not all techniques are available everywhere, are interpositioning and protective presence. That's what you're going to see in the video today. These techniques are used because there are frequent incursions by the settlers, and in this case, and where our pilot is al-Auja, which is a Bedouin village on privately owned Palestinian land. There are some rich Palestinians, and they have bought up sections of the West Bank so that Palestinians can be free to live there. But settlers come and build villages either illegally or legally very close as possible to the Palestinian villages. And then they bother them. They come and damage property. They come and expose themselves to the women, which of course is very, very bad in the Arab culture. They engage with their children, which is frightening for the Palestinians. And they'll do anything they can do to provoke an angry Palestinian response so that they can call the police. And the police in Israel are there to protect the Israeli settlers. They are not there to protect the Palestinians because of the weird dual state setup that they have gone. That's during the day. Then at night, they also come and they do worse things. You know, they steal sheep, they steal the food that they're feeding their sheep, they destroy wells or try and spoil water sources, they disrupt electrical services. Many of the Palestinians have security cameras, they damage or pull down the cameras, cut the cords, etc. So that's what you're going to be seeing is unarmed civilian protection in practice. As a settler tries to incur upon this Palestinian village. The voices you will hear are the UCP practitioner who is providing presence and doing the filming, right? So this is being filmed by one of our team members. And the homeowner who is calling out to the invading settler, not using the most nonviolent techniques, but they are the homeowner.
Settlers have showed up early in the morning, immediately outside of the house being attacked here.
There we go, inner positioning.
This is private Palestinian land they're currently on.
That's what they do every day and every day. So another question you might have for me is, does UCP work? I mean, could this work? Could it possibly work, right? You know, one source I have to answer that question is from research experts who studied this. Creating Safer Space is an international research foundation composed of research professionals supported by a wide variety of organizational partnerships. And they are dedicated to understanding when and how unarmed civilian protection makes a difference in communities around the world, because it is being practiced in over 60 countries around the world. So they do disciplined, thoughtful research. They're academics. They don't mess around. And to them, the answer is clear. Research shows that UCP breaks cycles of violence, changes conflict trajectories, and de-escalates tense situations to prevent violence from spread. This quote is from this recently published report. And I'll just give you one more quote from the report. The overall effectiveness of international volunteers was emphasized across all interviews. And that's the role that UCP in Palestine plays as international observers, right? They serve a dual role as deterrents. So the presence of volunteers alone was enough to dissuade many attacks from settlers and soldiers. And in several interviews noted the attacks decreased significantly when the volunteers were present. And we are currently doing an evaluation of our own at al-Auja. And we're keeping track of how many attacks, when did they happen, that kind of thing, to see if there is a tangible difference. They also serve as documentarians, the international volunteers. They're highly effective in documenting incidents of violence and providing crucial evidence that could be used for legal purposes or shared with international audiences. When volunteers are absent, this lack of documentation often left villagers unfounded accusations, that's calling missing, or unchecked violence. The other source we have for does it work is the community itself. They're really the ones who know, right? If it works or not, they know what their life was like before, they know what their life is like now. So one of the core principles of UCP in Palestine is to only go where we are invited by the local people. Originally, UCP in Palestine selected the village of Muharrajat as the site for its pilot. But before we could get a team in place, Israel bombed the land. Remember that? So our pilot was delayed because the country was locked down, no flights in or out. As a result, the settlers escalated their attacks on Israel, and we started receiving anxious calls for help. Will you come now? Will you come? We could not respond, not until until we get into the country. And eventually the entire village met and fled. Some went to relatives in Ramallah, and many went to refugee camps in Jordan. The rightful owners of the land, the rich Palestinians, took the settlers to court to assert their ownership of the land, and they won in court. But in the interim, the settlers mounted multiple raids against the unprotected community and destroyed the village. They had a school, they had a little community place, looks like that. So while technically they can come home, there is no home to come to. So this is just one example of why the Palestinians in the Jordan Valley are calling out for protective presence. There are a number of groups working in the valley, and they come, please come, when can you come? And so what we hear, if you can come tomorrow, please, right? So we know that UCP in Palestine, that UCP works. And we know that the Palestinians are crying out for help. But this conflict has been going on for a long time, right? And there is an actual war going on in Gaza with mass destruction and way too much. So is this the right time for UCP in Palestine? You might be asking yourself that question too. So I thought maybe I'd start with just a little bit of history. This might be old hat to all you guys, so I'll do it fast. But on November 29th, 1947, the UN General Assembly adopted Resolution 181. It recommended partitioning British Mandate Palestine into separate Arab and Jewish states. And this is kind of a picture, the vision for what it was going to be. The Jewish reaction was, well, mostly they welcomed them, though some were unhappy with a small amount of land allotted, according to them. The Palestinian Arabs and the Arab League rejected the partition plan entirely. They viewed it as unjust and a violation of the principle of national self-determination, especially since the plan allocated the majority of the land to the Jewish state, as you can see from the picture, despite the fact that Arabs made up 2/3 of the population. So what does Palestine look like now? You can kind of see what it was supposed to be, but as you can see, the Arab state refusal to accept the plan, combined with Israel's Declaration of Independence with the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. So the partition lines were sort of rendered meaningless, and we ended up with this sort of hodgepodge of armistice agreements, and it really left Israel in control of more territory than the original UN plan had provided. And the Palestinian Arab state that was envisioned by the plan was never established. So today, more than 500,000 Jewish settlers live on the West Bank, which was formerly designated as Palestine. I think you could maybe do some kind of over time picture of Minnesota too. It might look like this from the news perspective. It was accomplished by building illegal settlements on Palestinian land, and they are really good at terrorizing villages to drive the Palestinians. I know that the attack on Gaza is getting most of the media attention, but the truth is that this low-level, consistent violence against Bedouin communities living in the West Bank has dramatically increased as well since that time, since the war on Gaza started. It almost gave the settlers who were in that mood anyway. I'm sure it's not all the settlers. Sometimes we use the language, the terrorist settlers, those settlers that choose this choice of terrorizing the Palestinians. And not all of them, but some of them certainly do. That has dramatically increased. They almost had carte blanche to go after and get these Bedouins out of it. So we do know that this Israeli settlers campaign of violence is really working. Really doing a good job. Village after village on the West Bank is being abandoned. A quote from the Times of Israel article is, the displacement of Mujahid's families marked at least the 20th time that West Bank Palestinian communities have been depopulated as a result of extremist settler harassment since the beginning of the war with Hamas following the October 7th. That's just one part of the West Bank. So, it's a difficult problem. Situation has been going on for decades. Why should St. Luke get involved now? According to Francesca Albanese of the UN, we are witnessing the genocide of the native indigenous people of Palestine. What do I mean by genocide? Well, the dictionary says intentional destruction in whole or in part of a national, ethnic, racial, or religious. And she studied it, she went in there, she got down on the ground, and she has a really long, beautiful report that I'd be happy to share with you, but the bottom line is genocide is happening in front of our eyes. And I know St. Luke cannot stand by and do nothing with this or that. But finding something to do, what to do, is really challenging. The enmity between the Israelis and the Palestinians is deeply entrenched in both their cultures. Access to Gaza is impossible, and the situation feels helpless. But supporting UCP in Palestine is something we can do. Now, Chris, do we have Mel? Is Mel online? We'll just see. Mel is going to try and zoom in. This is his time to be here. Let's see how it goes. Can you stop sharing? There's
I'm here.
all right, there you are.
Hello.
Okay, now one.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Mel?
Yes, I've been listening to your presentation.
Wait a minute. You're not showing up on the screen. Let me. I stopped sharing. Now. There we go. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Can everyone hear?
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you.
I see people in the back nodding their heads. I can only see you from behind.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't have a great view of you.
So the back of your heads look good. I'm in Ras al-Auja, the community that Adele has been describing for you. It is about 5:40 in the afternoon here. We're in the southern Jordan Valley, where right now it's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is rather cool. 3 weeks ago, it was about 125 degrees here. And so my colleagues have been rejoicing that it's gotten cooler. To let you know where we are in terms of the map, if you go about 10 miles south of here, there's the city of Jericho. And I can look out from where I'm staying right now and see the mountain of temptation, where Jesus was for 40 days and 40 nights. If I look straight to the east, there's the Jordan River. And beyond that, there's the mountains of Jordan. And at night, the top of one of those mountains lights up for the city of Amman. So it's a beautiful desert area. And I'm reminded all the times of the scriptural verse of that if Christ's disciples be silent, even these stones will shout out. And getting an idea of what that means here, because anywhere you look, there are literally millions of stones. And the millions of stones that must be shouting out right now. I heard Adele use the term genocide, which is not a term to be used lightly. It's a legal term that is defined in the international conventions on the prevention of genocide by the UN. They were developed in the late 1940s as response to the Holocaust and are very clearly defined. And Adele shared with you the conclusion of the Special Rapporteur of the Human Rights Council, Francesca Albanese, but she's not alone. Recently, the International Association of Genocide Scholars concluded that genocide is taking place here. Amnesty International has concluded that genocide is taking place here. The well-known, well-regarded Israeli group, B'Tselem, has concluded that genocide is taking place here. I can give you more and more documentation, but what do we need when we know that 25,000 children have been killed and now more are being starved to death? What else do we need to know? And if you ever ask yourself, what would you have done during slavery? Or what would you have done during the Holocaust? The time to answer that question is now. We can stand up, even though it appears that there's not much chance to change the direction of our country. We can stand up against those odds the same way that the abolitionists did in 1855. The same way that the people who fought against the Holocaust and fought to have homes for the Jewish refugees in the late 1930s. The same way that so many of us, and I know St. Luke's well over the years. Some of you fought for sanctions against South Africa in the 1980s. And when I talk to groups, I ask them today, how many of you seated here supported apartheid in South Africa? And of course, no one in the group raises their hands. But you and I remember that there were plenty of people who fought against sanctions against South Africa and defended apartheid. But the time for us to act, and especially I can talk to you as a deacon in the Presbyterian Church, the time has passed for us as Presbyterians to stand up and act and say that this has got to stop. We must stick the spanner in the spokes of this genocide in any way we know how. We can do that in a variety of ways. I know later on, Adele will share some slides about contacting Representative Morrison and legislation to stop the exports of weapons from the United States. You and I are paying for this genocide. To stop the export of weapons, our denomination does have a resolution regarding the divestment of from companies that are profiting from this genocide, of which they are many in the United States. And we can support groups like Unarmed Civilian Protection in Palestine. I'm here. Some of my colleagues have just come back. In the last hour, they have been out stopping settlers from invading lands of Bedouin farmers with their sheep and with their goats to just try to take more and more land. Earlier this week, we were walking through parts next to the village looking for chicken heads. And we were looking for chicken heads because the settlers had gone through and thrown poisoned chicken heads out of their four-wheelers so that the dogs in the community would eat them. And indeed, we found 3 dead dogs and 3 dead silver foxes. On Thursday, I was sitting in one of the in a nearby structure, and 4 Palestinian women came running in, being chased by a settler in a four-wheeler. And these women were terrified. Fortunately, they knew enough to come to us. And as soon as they got there, the settler stopped and left. My colleague Sharon is running back and forth in front of me because she's leaving. There's a lot of activity that happens all the time here. And these women were in the village because they were doing a survey, a social work survey. They weren't from the village. And they were terrified that they'd been chased by this settler in a four-wheeler. So we had them come in, we gave them coffee. We sat around for an hour and talked, and they said they were from Jericho. And as I said, Jericho's 10 miles away. And they had said, we've heard about settlers, we've seen photos, but we've never seen them face to face. The difference between what happens here in the villages and what happens in the cities is vast. But these are not sporadic attacks. The chicken heads, the chasing the women, the bringing the sheep into the lands of the Palestinian farmers, the stealing of the sheep. This is all part of a concerted effort to annex the West Bank. Prime Minister Netanyahu is now totally unabashed. There is no more secret. He said 2 or 3 days ago, this is all our land. And in a certain respect, I'm glad he's honest about it. Now, of course, it's not their land. International courts have upheld again and again that this is Palestinian land, but he is here to take that over. And the settlers that our teams are stopping are the shock troops of the annexation. And they're stopping them because the people in the community and several members of the community have just walked by me while I've been talking, have asked us to be here because they want to stay on their land. They want to raise their children. A little girl just went by walking her dog. They want to stay here. They want to raise their children. The school is 2 blocks from here. They don't want to leave. And as long as they want to stand here and resist the ethnic cleansing and the genocide, we want to stand with them. And the young and not so young, I mean, I'm the oldest, being 75, but we have one member of our team, Ben, who's 71, so he's close. But we also, the youngest member of the team here right now is 24, a young woman from West Virginia. We'll stand with them. And our teams are well-trained, they're disciplined. I've seen them stand and they're spit in their face, they're pushed, they're called every name that you can think of, but they're there to protect the Palestinians. And they do that. They do that with great discipline and great support. And it's hard work, and I'm very, very proud to be with them. And I also want to let you know that this would not be taking place without hundreds of hours of volunteer work from Adele, who's been a project manager and our financial manager, who makes sure that we keep that we have the money to do what we say we're going to do. And you know, to let you know, Adele said, because the people want us here. Shukran. One of the women just brought me coffee right at this very moment. We are very welcomed here. And so thank you. This is for us as Christians to do. Jesus was here.
Thank you very much, Mel. Do you have time to stay and answer some questions?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just
All right,
got a
so-
nice cup of coffee.
So I'm gonna take the slides away. So I'm gonna just let you know that, the UCP in Palestine, the project, is currently focusing on our pilot in Ras al-Auja. So we committed to providing at least 6 months of protected presence. We're performing our participatory evaluation. We're delivering workshops with gathering together all the groups that are doing this kind of work to see what we can do all together. And we're launching a solidarity network to create opportunities for supporters around the world to connect with the citizens of Ras al-Auja. So when we say, well, what can St. Luke do? I have 3 ideas for you. One is to create awareness about UCP in Palestine and this genocide and what's going on in the West Bank using social media. If you follow UCP in Palestine, you will get regular information about what's going on there, and then you can share it with your friends. And yes, I won't forget that. Thanks, Sam. And you can share it with your friends. And so if you do any kind of social media at all, you have some people that are connected to you and watching. And so share the information. Of course, UCP in Palestine is the Change for Change recipient in September. So please give into the red envelopes. And then we hope that you will advocate for Palestine with your senators and congressional representatives. The best way to plug in and to really get the information that you would need to share is to join the St. Luke chapter of the UCP in Palestine Solidarity Network. There is a sign-up sheet in the back, and all I need is your name and email, and then you will receive, not very many, I promise, that we don't have a whole social media team going or anything, but regular information about what you can do, what's going on in the community. And the thing I'm most excited about, you'll have an opportunity to Zoom with the community in Ras al-Auja. We figured out how to do this, and you can meet actual Palestinians, learn about what their village is like, learn about their situations. And they have this sense that all of these people out there are supporting them. And it makes them really feel safe. All right? So that's what you can do. Let's go to questions then. If you do have a question, I need you to use the mic. That way Mel can hear the question. And if we have anyone watching on the Zoom in the community, in our St. Louis community, they can hear you as well. Sandy, do you have a question?
I just want you to do something. Would you repeat the 3 things in a shorter format? So 1 is social media, 2,
Yes, social media, change for change,
yeah,
and advocacy to your congressional representatives, and joining the St. Luke chapter of UCP in Palestine Solidarity Network.
okay.
Those are my prayers for you. Okay, so let me get this turned on. Who has questions? Yes. Who has questions? Judy?
This seems like very dangerous work, so I just wonder what kind of training do the volunteers get that's involved with that?
Okay.
And have they all been safe so far?
Good question. Oh, now, what do you think? Val,
Yes.
question.
Our people have all been safe in the respect that they have not had any injuries. They receive extensive training that starts out. In fact, we just finished earlier today a 5-week online training for Team 2. They completed their 5 weeks just an hour ago, and they will be coming to Bethlehem for their face-to-face training in 2 weeks, and they'll have another 9 days of face-to-face training before they're deployed. And they will be replacing the team that's here now, because most internationals are only allowed to stay in the country for 3 months. So we have to keep bringing in new team members. We do have very stringent security protocols, but it is dangerous. The settlers carry automatic rifles. They carry knives. They carry clubs. And at the same time, as Dr. King used to say, we have a force more powerful. And that force is love and nonviolence.
Does that answer your question, Judy? Anyone, another question? Christopher?
Hi, Mel, Chris here. I
Hi,
have
Chris.
a question about Dell saying that the Palestinians won in court. What court was that? Where did they get their authority? What's their jurisdiction? And who cares what they say?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, although I should say that we do have a team of human rights defenders that are on call for us, who are lawyers, and they are on call 24/7 for our team, which is another layer of protection that we have. They won in an Israeli court that did uphold, as Adele said, that al-Mujarat was Palestinian land, but that really didn't mean anything, because from the prime minister on down, international law, local laws, national laws don't mean anything here. And we're getting a taste of that in our own country. And so the International Court of Justice was clear a year ago about who owns the land where I'm sitting right now. And they were clear, this is Palestinian land. But there's 500,000 Israelis in settlements. And Prime Minister Netanyahu just announced 22 more settlements this week. And so the court order was an Israeli court. And they said that, in fact, that land did belong to the people of al-Mujarat. And it really didn't mean anything. The settlers came in with the support of the Israeli army and burned part of the structures. And so the people did not feel safe going home.
Well, I really admire what you're doing, but could you share a little bit about your background and what motivated you to do this? And then I'm also curious, what is the US government's position in terms of people traveling to this area of the world now?
Oh, I started doing or learning kind of on the job about civilian protection when I went to Nicaragua in 1984 and stayed on the northern border. And I know some of the people then from St. Luke's were a part of that. And we found that if we were in on the northern border, that the Contras would not attack the cotton and coffee villages. So that really led me in a number of ways. In the late 1990s, I was part of a group that co-created an international group called Nonviolent Peace Force, which provides direct protection for civilians in war zones throughout the world. And so I worked with Nonviolent Peace Force for about 23 years, and 2 years ago retired, and that was October of 2023. And we all know what happened then. And so some Palestinian friends started saying, well, what about what you've been doing in other parts of the world? Do you think that would work here? So I started connecting with some Palestinian colleagues and working with them. And this is what I'm doing in my retirement, as is what Adele's doing in her retirement.
Other questions?
Oh, and the US government. Right now, there's no problem with the US government in terms of me traveling here. I'm a tourist. And the restriction is I can only stay 3 months at a time. But this is my second 3 months stint this year.
Okay, any other questions? Judy, good, thank you.
I guess I agree about the volunteers, but I'm just wondering, why is it that the volunteers are not attacked? Just as the veterans have. What?
It's a really good question, and it's been studied a lot. And it really goes back for centuries as this concept is developed. And there's a number of things. And I first of all want to say, our people are not volunteers. Some of us choose to volunteer, but everyone is offered, all their expenses are paid, and a stipend of $1,500 a month. So we make it possible for people who can't afford otherwise to be able to do this work. There's a number of things. First of all, our passports and ethnicity do extend a form of privilege. It's not as much as it used to be, but people do think twice about harming foreigners, both for the political and economic reasons. Also, I should say, and this is an important thing I want everybody to remember, we have 2 Israelis on this team. And there are hundreds of Israeli Jews who volunteer to do this work. We have 2 Jewish Americans on our team. And the Israelis have also a special status because they're talking Israeli to Israeli, Israeli Jew to Israeli Jew. They're speaking in Hebrew to each other. And so that's another form of protection. A third thing is you tend to moderate your behavior when the neighbors are, it's like you don't fight when the neighbors come over for dinner. You know, it's as simple as that. And I think most profoundly that when people are there committed to nonviolence, not to blaming, not to attacking, but to see the human in the other, that changes the dynamic. Not all the time. None of this works all the time, but it works a lot. And so it's a combination of those things working together that makes us able to protect.
I'm sorry, it's not a question, I cannot help but compare your volunteer witnessing the moment and being present and how much support that is for the Palestinian people who are being oppressed and threatened and all that's going on. To witness the moment and to be present is just a huge gift of your time and commitment and risk and it's and the comparison I want to make is not to denigrate in any way or take away from the importance of what you've chosen to do to witness what's going on and to be supportive of human rights and Palestinian rights. Very similar and little less risky for any of us who want to be immigration court observers.
Yes, yes.
Doing the last 4 years. It's very similar.
Yes.
ICE,
Thank you.
ICE is in, settlers are in LA, they're in going to Memphis next week here, they're in DC, they're in every ICE raid in a city or anywhere. That's ICE.
Yes.
They're the settlers. And the migrant refugees who are terrified, like the Palestinians are in the West Bank, are also terrified. That's the word they're using. They're scared to death. My daughter and granddaughter teach Spanish immersion. The kids in those classes are afraid that when they go home that night, yeah, thank you. All kinds of similarities. And we're losing the same thing in the court. We were winning in the courts, but Netanyahu and Trump are both strongmen who could give a damn about what the courts are saying, and they don't want us to go to prison. That's one of their motivations for all the harm and extended wars. And anyway, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so
yes,
another way of witnessing, bearing witness closer to home.
Yes, yes, and thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. And you know, one of the people who influenced me the most to do this work is a Vietnamese monk by the name of Thich Nhat Hanh. And Thich Nhat Hanh once said, the most important gift we can ever give is our presence. And the kind of presence that you're describing is the most meaningful kind of presence. So please, yes, I so am so grateful for what you're doing.
When we're observing in court, again, you can't compare it to the risks and the commitment that you and volunteers on your team are doing. You can't compare it. It's much easier. But we're there and we can feel, the judge knows we're there. The judge are struggling with what they're being called to do. the detainees in shackles and orange suits know we're there, and we're there to support them. And all that is just another way that St. Luke can take its fewer and fewer people to do this, but I've seen Bud and Jerry and Arlene and there are a lot of us, and I hope we're not competing with each other.
We're not competing. We're being
It's all
exactly,
good.
we're being exactly where Jesus told us to be.
That's right. And I just want to be respectful of our time. We're wrapping up now. So I just want to go back to that list that Sandy had me repeat, and I'm going to say it one more time. There are things you can do. You can observe the court. That's where you're called. But if this crisis in Palestine calls to you, then I encourage you to follow UCP Palestine on Instagram or Facebook or whatever your desired media platform is. I encourage you to give generously in the red envelopes for Change for Change. And I encourage you to respond. There'll be action alerts. Doug has been very generous putting things in the St. Luke communication machine. I'll feed action alerts in there to help you, give you the opportunity to advocate for Palestine with our screwed up government. And I'd love it if you all chose to sign up to join the St. Luke chapters of the Solidarity Fund. Thank you all very much for your time. And Mel, thank you for taking the time. I know you're really busy.
Bye-bye.
Nice, yeah.
I'm sure. Harvey, thank you. Music. Oh, well, he was gonna be here, but things got very bad because. Oh. Yeah, I just, they made them fight the saviors. And close. I need to learn reading material. You need more reading material, all right?
I have the New York Times, so I can pull things easily.
Yeah.
Where else would you suggest?
I would suggest you go to our website, ucpip.org.
Okay.
UCPIP,
Okay,
UCP in Palestine, right? .org.
okay.
.org. So the
Material.
there's a place to start, and then if you want more, you let me know.
Sure.
Okay?
And I'll start sending it around, and, I don't hear help. I don't know what I can do, but maybe I'll leave a couple loop, but we don't, okay, I'll do something, thank you.
Sure. It's hard when you can't hear, it's hard.
I know. That's why I can't do this. Because the judges go to ways and everybody in the church. Thank you. I know your heart's been there a long time. I have 3 or 4 of these things. It needs to be decided, but it's there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking. That's mine.
Oh, that's yours.
You are such a good guy. So are they?
It is happening.
I still, you know, I'm retired. So I still be.
Because every bit of it lost. Because I still like to get it up. I know.
So I sure just. Jewish.
I got 15 of those, I think.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting this something.
I can't hear that Sunday.
Well, so I got 2 orders.
I do use.
So we get problems,
But I
so that's.
They just don't just go down one. That's the
The whole thing
thing.
is to be done.
Yeah, they don't. Say that.
Yep, I agree with that.
Exemption.
Thank you.
Events.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everyone. And the heck it is, coffee. Walk from like 8 or 7.
And then you think about it.
That's not when you're saying coffee. Millions of Yeah.
That's what I'm trying.
Well,
They all tripping out. So they should go pick up. And this. You know, that one picture where it was my, yeah. And, you know, it, okay. The fact that it was.
Went down the driveway.
Sure. Yeah, right.
But they went down the just there. They said they have.
You need to.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
And daughter.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And then these lines are all.
That's all they're
So
showing.
when you find that-
Yeah.
That's a really rich plant.
Terraforms do not work, false, we found out 100 years ago.
Everybody.
That's been going on for so long, but it's been right, that's right.
Oh, and then.
Yeah, video. It's just.
Oh, yeah. That's.
It's all already graduated. Decades ago.
Yeah.
As far as the house. Economics, it is.
Yeah.
What can you see, we're buying, so we made it. So, I mean, so every Mr. Anti-Trump, Mr. Pro-Terror, it's big and big. West side country, you know, giving everybody one spot, every other business boost the economy, so no, this doesn't. Well, Americans are held.
Yeah.
So anyway. And it's, you know, to America's farmers, though, we voted for them, and that's, and
Yeah.
that's just, and I don't know if it's ever gonna change or not.
Thanks for.
Sure.
It
reminds me so much of what you
Yeah. Maybe I believe it should say. Another, we're always sanctuary. Because they're picking up. Because having a great. And so. And I, this is, we call it. Also. So we call it, to get you there, and you said, you're my mother.
Yeah, and you said, don't do it.
I should. Like, I would say, lay low. Part of your work, don't do anything, that you're ready, for statements or anything that's calling you, that's what you're gonna speak. I said, okay, you done, we can't go with you and be an hour and telling me.
The same thing.
I'm sorry. I worry about it, just to keep up.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And that's all it takes.
Right.
So I do think there's a lot of similarities. But I just feel. She went from and then, you know, the work, so. And then once again, same one today, the paper, there's a little bit. Threatening food. Never got anything. Oh, my God.
Stand with those difference.
These points there, I heard it down in the free up here in the village. Yeah, for having a decent business. I quit that, probably, there's no contest.
Come easy to play.
I'm glad you're working on it, and I do want to, yeah. You know, you gotta be part of our meeting, you know, it's. What else can we do?
Yeah, and then.
Well, I know a lot of confidence in my.
Okay.
Well, the thing that really turned me off when you got here, so many years ago, for sure, I'll still think about it. And that's when the voters church made in the central numbers. We saw where our government really, what they were doing. Yeah.
That means that's not that time.
Very neat scientists, he go so we was more. To go to Washington and talk to all the congressmen and senators. Through the all the regions that first. Yeah, when our government's doing it, and he said, okay, I knew. And ever since then, I thought, what a letter inside. Because that was the time that the three of us, all shores never did right. And all they.
So I'll be in Washington in October.
Yeah, you'll be watching in October.
You're
Great.
second year, not second year, I'm talking about foreign sisters.
So please talk about Palestine.
It's just. Failure. The other issue is trying to advocate to get more food in Gaza.
Absolutely.
And, and saying to his credit,
Yes.
apparently he was in a shouting match with that guy.
The 7th of September.
In the White House, told her, we gotta get more food in Gaza. So that's the opposite, this, no, there's got plenty of food in Gaza. Say that publicly. And Trump was telling, and that at least, facilitated these areas, which are not ideal. They're at least light enough.
Yeah.
But that, the care, which I, that's a compliment, so they, they were one of the big international nonprofits working with UN, distributed food in Gaza, they're a pretty good job. Until the Israeli military, now said no. There's too much chance that Hamas is getting clean. So there's Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is just a quack organization that Trump and Netanyahu support, which is run by some evangelical guy that they've been distributing the food in Gaza and making it much more difficult for citizens to.
I should turn off the
Yeah.
Zoom. Hold on.
As you're probably aware, they rather than distributing food in the